mentoring. Who has been or is your mentor or teacher?
I had some great mentors early in my publishing career. I was very fortunate to help me learn a great deal about business, and has kind of built the foundation for my business experience. My current mentor is my coach. The coach works with a coach. And the main reason is that you can never see yourself as objectively as somebody else can see you. Again, using the comparison of the elite athlete at the Olympics, or any elite athlete striving to do better, they have coaches because they can observe and see how they can tweak their golf stroke or their skating performance and so on. And the same thing is true with business. Is if you've got somebody that you can discuss things with, they can see it more objectively and help you to tweak the behavior. You choose what you want to work on. The coach can help guide you and point out and give suggestions. So the coach that I use, which is part of our Growth Coach organization, has been terrific. And I also go through our coaching process. We have a very clear process that we take people through. So I do both of those. I think personal development, and then I read a great deal. The difference between reading, though, and having a mentor or a coach is that you do have that, it's a two-way interaction. Reading is great. It doesn't force you necessarily to take action and hold you accountable.
We interpret things as we see them as well, right?
Yes, so. Exactly, through our own blinders.
Did you play sports or anything like that when you were younger?
I swam. I was a synchronized swimmer.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. So I didn't compete. We did more performance-based.
Okay.
So I never did real competitive sports.
Okay.
But I have two boys who did.
Okay.
They both played football.
Well, what you're talking about, though, I mean, that's not an easy thing to do.
Correct, yeah. And it's interesting because I often tell a story when I'm out speaking that as a child I almost drowned in the water.
Okay.
And as a result of the actions, which my mother forced me to take swim lessons, I became a very good swimmer, I became a lifeguard, but I had a whole mindset of fear around the water, and it wasn't until I was forced to actually do something about it that I completely changed my mindset. That's a great example of how mindset can change.
Okay. You know, you just prompted me to think about an instance that happened last night, and this isn't in the questions, so...
Yeah, that's okay. We can go off script.
So we're going to go off script a little bit here. Somebody had raised their hand and said, you know, they had a conversation with their father, which is also a business owner. They both own the business. It's a father and son. And, you know, the son said, my father does not want to do a certain type of advertising, especially with social media, because, you know, what happens if somebody doesn't like what we do, or we drop the ball on something, or and I gave the example of Domino's Pizza. I don't know if anybody saw the example where somebody had done something to the food, and that got all over YouTube. But I guess, you know, to be more focused, like, how do you deal with something that comes up that is not the most pleasant thing? What do you suggest to your clients when something not so positive comes up, and how to deal with it? Is that something that you've had to deal with?
Yeah, well, I think whether it's online or in person, I'd rather know about the problem. You can't correct a problem if you don't know about it. And I don't know if you've seen the YouTube United Breaks Guitars.
Unfortunately, I haven't.
Yeah, well, it's a great video to watch. United Breaks Guitars, and then the other response to it is Taylor. Taylor's response. Taylor is the guitar maker. United didn't respond, but I do think it's a great way for a company then to take corrective action and also to respond directly with their customers. If the customers have a complaint, it's going to spread one way or another. You really need to know what they're thinking so that you can respond.
Right. And now, us as consumers, we're interacting with each other on social media platforms. And if somebody does a Google search about a company, the reviews are going to show up.
That's right.
And so if all your reviews are negative, then all your reviews are negatives. But if you have the ability to react to a review, that brings it to light, and then you're able to take corrective measures. I know that, I think Domino's Pizza, the point where they at when that incident occurred, then they had some backlash. Stocks went down. And then they addressed the situation, and now they actually have surpassed where they were prior to the event. So that's an example of dealing with an issue rather than sort of trying to push it aside.
That's right.
So,
yeah, that's great.
Let's see. Now, you're a woman, and I'm a man, and that's very poignant. Do you feel like there's anything that has, any challenges, if any, as being a woman business owner?
You know, I've been asked that before, and I have always kind of been ahead of the curve early on in my career in terms of taking on business roles that weren't typically those for women. And my mindset is always that I look at doing business fairly. I look at, you know, understanding and treating people fairly. And I think if you think of yourself as being different, you will be different. If you think of yourself as a business person, you'll be a business person, whether you're a man or a woman. So I think it really depends on what your mindset is. You know, you get what you give out, and if you communicate that there's something different about you, you'll get that back. I guarantee it.
Well, that's great. That's
Yeah.
a very good point.
Yeah.
So you have I'm trying to find a right word, but your success or attitude is up to you rather than other people.
That's right, yeah. You determine the success that you want to have. And, you know, there are all kinds of examples of extraordinary things that people have done because they believed. You know, they believed it was possible. And if you believe it's possible and then you take the action to support that, you're not going to get it overnight, but you do it consistently. You take the right measures, doing the right things often enough, you will begin to see results. And that's the other part of my philosophy is you can only control the actions, you can't control the outcomes. So you need to focus on the actions and not worry about the outcomes. You want to be intentional
Right.
about where it is that you're going and very clear about where you're going, and then really stay focused on what you can control, which is the action.
That's great.